We're at the point in the show where I ask these kind of three kind of fun big picture questions. They're not, too related to, they're big picture things. The first one, I asked you right at the beginning if you had been to Rochester before. It seems hazy, so I'll put it this way. Do you happen to remember the garbage plate you had? And if so, will you be having another one?
I do not remember I do remember the garbage plate. I think it was on a garbage can. I think it was on a garbage can lid. I think that's how they served it to us. And I will be having a garbage plate. Yes, without a doubt.
Fantastic. The next one here, obviously you've got so many tours coming up, podcasts, you got got everything in front of you, the movies coming up. I always like to ask this of artists though, what's the next big accomplishment that you would like to hit, whether it's in 1 year, 5 years, what's the next feather in the cap that you're looking to put in there?
Wow. I think I'd like to do a scripted series that I produce. Honestly, my big white whale is a scripted series that I produce that goes online that's sponsored by sponsors from podcasting. And we cut out all the middlemen and we do what we do on television, but we do it for like podcasting and then kind of change the game. I got a buddy, Shane Gillis, who's doing something similar to that. And I think that's the future.
Why?
Mm-hmm. Because I look at radio, I go in and do radio and I see the big building and the amount of people that work there. And I see all the dead money. I see the money that just goes to people that maybe don't have an input. And then you go to do a podcast and you're like, oh, it's the advertiser, my ad sales rep and me. And then I get to choose my overhead. If that's the setup, right, for podcasting, and we're making on podcasts more than anyone's making in radio right now. I mean, there's not one person making as much as we make on podcasts that's doing radio. I don't know, but I don't think if that's the setup, especially at my talent level, let's say that, let me rephrase that. There's no middle person. There's no average person in radio making as much money as we make in podcasting. Well, if that's the setup, then the money to be made in television is going to be through the roof. And if we can be at the front of that, then that is the future. And to be a part of that future and be a part of it, to kind of shepherd that in to the guys doing it, it's amazing, man. It's amazing that to be able to pay people that you need to pay, meaning let people be accountable for the jobs they can provide you. I remember being in a radio station one time and they were asking me how much I got for my Sherry's Berries read. And I told them, and the guy said, he was like, what? And I was like, yes, whatever, $5,000 something. And he was like, how many times do you have to read it? And I said, it was just once. And he went, I said, how much do you get? And he goes, $50. And I went, you get how many times? He goes, every time I read it, I get $50. And then I watched a dude walk in and open the door and he's like, hey, I'm going to lunch early today. And I went, that's why you get paid $50, because that guy also gets $50 every time you read it. And he's not really doing anything. He's going to lunch early. It's great when you see someone who, when you see a business where everyone's accountable and they earn their money.
Perfect. Last one. Do you have any advice for aspiring comedians?
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's, I'm very pensive about this today, but if you want to succeed as a comedian, you have to have like 9 different brains to succeed these days. You can't just, we have David Tell coming out to Rochester. He is the greatest comic I've ever seen in my entire life, but he's just a comic. He's just a comic, even as a human. It's hard to get him on the phone. Let alone getting a headshot from him or a high res version of his headshot. You're not going to get it because he's just a comic. But these days, in order to succeed, listen to this interview I just did. It's like I talk more about the business than I am funny these days, because that's how the business is run. Is like, I'm funny, but like I barely see it these days. I feel like my day is spent producing festivals, coming up with scripts, doing a podcast, producing a podcast, making sure sponsors are happy, making sure that we have liquid death in the bus for all the artists, renting 4 buses, making sure the facilities are up and running where everyone can get showers. It's like, don't do it, man. If you want to be a comic, you better really want to be a comic, because the comedy is the last thing you'll do at the end of the night. And that's your treat. Is your day is going to be spent getting up, doing radio, doing press, going in and doing television that's 15 minutes away, that's horrible and doesn't count, and is the worst experience you've ever had, where you just go, that was a waste of me waking up. And then you're going to go tour Notre Dame and you're going to put on your smile and shake hands and take pictures. And then you're going to come in and do a sound check. And then maybe you'll take a nap. And then at the end of the day, after you made sure everyone's had a great time, you get to do stand up. I didn't think this is what it would be. I really didn't. I thought it would just be me drinking beer, smoking weed, giggling all day. And that's part of it. But man, it's flying to Austin and doing 2 Bears, and we do 4 episodes in a day. So all of a sudden it's like a little bit of work, and then it's flying home, and it's trying to have a family. I talk to comics all the time. A lot of my friends who are starting to blow up, they're like, man, I'm just so burned out. And I was like, for real? Because it gets worse. It gets way worse. Don't do it, man. See, if you try that open mic and you like it, you better love it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like that's the case for you, because you are doing all that stuff. So, would you, and here's an interesting thing, because I know someone, because I'm also a workaholic. So I kind of know in the sense that part of the crazy process is what makes the final result worth it to me. Yeah. And I don't know if I'd want to do this type of stuff for the video or the music recording that I do if it wasn't difficult. Do you kind of wish that it was that simple, that you could just have beer, hang out, do comedy? Or, are you kind of now addicted, or maybe enjoy the hard process a little too bit, even as tough as it is?
Look, I love the work. I'm a workaholic. If you sit me down at my house, like when they started the pandemic, and then they were like stay-at-home orders. My 3rd day, I was like, I got to tour somehow. Like, let's find a way to do it. Let's do drive-in movie theaters. I'm not the guy that can sit on his hands. I don't have that ability. I'm jealous of those people. I'm jealous of the people that quit comedy during the pandemic. I will, if I'm at home and I'm not working, I will find a way to work. I mean, my therapist told me to get a hobby, so I started leather working. I started making leather wallets and fanny packs. And after my first fanny pack, I thought, literally, I made it and I showed it to people, and they were like, that's really cool. And I went, I bet if I skinnied this up and made it less difficult to make, I could sell these at my shows. Yeah. And then I was like, that's not a hobby anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm going to turn everything into work. I can't help it. If I work out, I film it for my Instagram to put it on, Yeah. I'm going to find a way to make everything work. I can't help it.